September 20th meeting of the Arlington School Board of Directors is called to order. First order of business to have the pledge. So would you mind leading us in the pledge tonight?
Rachel, could you pull the flag up?
Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the secretary please call the roll?
Director Apple?
Here.
Director O'Brien?
Here.
Director Bogliano?
Here.
Director Puskar?
Here.
Director Frank?
Here.
Director Monchar?
Here.
Director Simsek?
She's not able to be here tonight.
Director Zalewski?
Here.
And Director Schreiber?
Here. There's a portion of our meeting at the very beginning where we invite members of the audience to comment or question any items that are on our agenda. So if anybody has any questions or comments on agenda items, please raise your hand and let us know. If not, there is a time at the end of the meeting to ask general questions about other topics. Looking to move on, we have minutes from previous meetings that we'd like to approve. I'll entertain a motion to approve the following two items. Number one, minutes from the voting meeting of August 23rd, 2022. And then number two, minutes from the committee meeting from September 13th, 2022. Do I have a motion for those two items?
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded. Thank you. Any discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. I'll report that we had an executive session prior to this meeting where we discussed personnel matters. And I'll now turn to Dr. Kreider for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Director Schreiber. For the superintendent's report, we had a great start to the beginning of the 22-23 school year. Checking into enrollment numbers across the board, we're at approximately 1,250 students, K through 12 at the present time. All three buildings had a great start to the school year. This week in particular, our schools at the high school and also at Crafton Elementary are going through their safety drills. So the safety drills encompass a lot of different types of drills: fire, violent intruder, lockdowns, evacuations, reverse evacuations, and so on. So we sent out some information for that to our families and parents to prepare our students for events of any types of emergencies that we need to prepare for. Carnegie will be holding their drills next week. Over the summer, we met with a variety of first responders from Robinson, from Grafton, from Carnegie, and from Scott Township. A lot of those first responders represented from fire, from EMS, and also the police chiefs were also present. At that time, we went through our emergency response plan, reviewed the emergency response plan to have good, solid communication with all of the first responders so they're prepared and understanding of what our plans are in the event of any type of emergency for which we would seek their assistance. Meeting was very productive. As a follow-up, we had Mr. Lockren and Mr. Jones attend a recent conference down in Pittsburgh at the Sheraton, where there were a variety of individuals there, FBI, Secret Service, and a lot of presenters just on how to respond to emergencies. So I think that conference for us, it validated a lot of the practices that we have set up in our emergency response plan, and they were also able to enhance their knowledge in regard to how to respond to emergencies. With our district enrollment, we also are experiencing a little bit of a surge at our kindergarten enrollment at Carnegie Elementary. In order to serve the needs of that group of students, we also have on the board agenda tonight the addition of a kindergarten teacher at Carnegie Elementary School. Should that motion be approved tonight, we'll work to get an additional staff member for our kindergarten sections and work with the families at Carnegie to make that transition. In regard to personnel, we've made a lot of progress. Really over the past 18 months, we've filled a lot of very challenging positions that a lot of districts still struggle to fill. Areas such as French, physics, special education, counseling, nursing. So we're making a lot of moves in that area to fill those vacancies. And also on the agenda tonight, we also have a principal for Carnegie Elementary School, is on the board agenda as well. So as those positions continue to become available, they are a challenge to fill, but we are dedicated to finding the most highly qualified individuals to fill into those roles. General food service workers have been the biggest challenge for us at the present time. I can't express my sincere and the district's sincere appreciation for the work that our general food service personnel do on a day-in, day-out basis, providing meals to our students. We are significantly understaffed at the present time. There is a motion on the board agenda tonight to help relieve some of that extra work and extra burden, and that is through increasing the substitute rate of general food service workers and also paraprofessionals. One piece that's not on the motion that I would ask the board to consider was a small oversight is also to add custodial and maintenance staff onto that change for substitute work from up to the $14 an hour. What we found in the past is increasing that substitute rate certainly helps fill the void and fill that need. And with that group of general food service workers, we're also looking for creative solutions on how to attract and how to retain employees in those vital positions. A general thanks to all of our staff and to our students and to our families for a great beginning of the school year. It certainly takes a community to lift off a new school year, and year after year we're very impressed with the level of support that we get from our community to do that. And then also one final announcement. I know we've mentioned at the last board meeting, the Arlington Education Foundation is a great resource to the district. They provide a lot of mini grants to our staff to purchase different types of materials for our classroom. They have their annual golf outing. They've had a very good response. They've got a lot of sponsorships this year. They're very excited. The golf outing is on October 1st. It is at Shadow Lakes Golf Club up in Aliquippa. More information can be found at carlington.org. That's the Education Foundation's website. If you're interested in playing or if you're interested in sponsoring the whole or any level of sponsorship, you can access that website, carlington.org, or you can also reach out to Lisa Rowley, who is our federal programs coordinator and is also the president of the foundation. So collectively, great start to the beginning of the school year. Very pleased, and thank you again for everyone's collective support. That concludes our report.
Quick question, Dr. Craig, you mentioned that there's a shortage of cafeteria help workers. If a parent or a neighbor or a grandparent is interested in helping and can work 2 days a week, is that something that the district would be interested in?
Yes, so they could work as a daily substitute at the new rate that we're proposing tonight. That's $14 an hour. They can also reach out to Kristen Butler, our Human Resources Coordinator, for additional information for any types of positions in that area. We'd accept part-time, full-time, anything at this time to give that relief to our general food service.
It's a shameless plug, but we're looking for anybody that is willing to help us. Thanks. Moving along, we have committee reports for the month. Let's start with Parkway West. Director Apple, anything, which way I'm looking to find Director Apple. So anything you want to share about Parkway?
I've got thanks. I have quite a bit actually to share. I guess I'd start out with the enrollment, which is up to over 1,200 students as of the start of the year. That's just to give you an indication. Back in 2012, 2013, so 10 years ago, there were 579 kids. So it's more than doubled. It's like about 112% increase over that span of time. And they've increased the number of offerings for coursework for students. In fact, they're one of the newer programs, Diesel Mechanics, is adding a second teacher. And it's kind of exciting. They've got a non-traditional hiring coming in. She's a female. She's very highly regarded in the industry. And I think it's great because it gives young women to see, you know, that somebody else is doing this kind of work, and if they have an interest in it, there's a path towards that. One of the big things out there is indicators of quality, they call it. So what they've got instead of their standardized testing that they take is called NACI, and it's got a 97% passage rate, which is pretty great for, especially compared to other career technical centers around the state. And they offer, well, they had last year 1,860 industry certifications, which is important because if a student, say for instance, is in cosmetology and they can graduate from Parkway West with an industry certification in hand, they can go straight to work. They don't have to, you know, at their own expense, get that certification. Same goes for many other different careers. And along those lines, Parkway West is one of 9 welding accreditation spots in the state where people can come in and take their testing to be certified in various types of welding, whether it's, you know, there's all sorts of different kinds of welding, whether it's MIG, there's TIG, there's aluminum, all sorts of stuff. And so what Parkway has decided to do is offer, and those tests can be kind of expensive, like between $2,000 and $2,500. So they're going to offer testing in the evening. We have a lot of industry partners as well as maybe alumni and things like that, and they can take those tests for $500 each. And then anyone else that would want to come in can do it for $700, which is a nice way to, you know, help out the community and the industries in the area, but also bring a little extra income into Parkway. So I talked about the enrollment. One of the challenges is they're going to have to start their dismissal 10 minutes early, and that's primarily due because of busing. Just getting kids on the school buses from different programs. It's a campus out there, so you know, auto body's over here, public safety's over here, and so the buses, what they do is they kind of wind their way through the campus, and you know, it's become an issue getting kids back to school if they're in the morning session in time for their you know, their coursework at their home school, and then in the evening or the afternoon session getting back for whether to get a bus home or to do activities, things like that. So it's not, I mean, it's a tough problem to solve, but as it is right now, we're going to have 465 hours of instruction out there, which is still 105 hours above the state mandated minimum, which is 360. So, you know, it's not an ideal situation, but there's a lot of congestion, and a lot more students are driving these days. So that's kind of the thing that just needed to be solved. And finally, they're going to get a school resource officer out there starting full-time in January. He'll be there 3 days a week until that time. It's a retiring officer from North Fayette Police Department, which is the township that Parkway West exists in anyway. And so the person they're hiring, it's $70,000 of his salary, which is $105,000 is going to be from a state grant, and then also the other $35,000 they're going to get from another grant. So it's not going to be a direct cost from the taxpayers from the sending districts, but we decided that it was a good thing to have a school resource officer out there just to, you know, if nothing else, keep the traffic moving during the dismissal. So I think that's about all I have. I know it's a lot, but there's a lot going on out there. so, thanks.
Good stuff.
Jim, I have a question. The resource officer, will he be armed?
Well, he's a police officer, George, so,
Okay, so he will.
yeah, I mean,
That's
he's,
good. I think it's good.
and, you know, I mean, so he'll be there as a police officer. He'll still be, he won't be an employee of Parkway West.
Yeah.
And the way it's working, he's going to be there for things that the principals and the security staff out there right now, you know, they're going to be covering the discipline and those sort
Sure.
of things. He's not there to discipline kids, but if, you know, say for instance, there's a fight or somebody needs to be, you know, restrained and that sort of thing, he's qualified and certified to do that, whereas the principal and the security guards are not.
But for safety's sake, it's good that Parkway is being proactive.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it was a long discussion, and I think that, you know, the benefits outweigh the, maybe the negatives that go along with having a police presence on campus, but again, you know, kind of like I said, the whole situation, the traffic in the parking lot there is just ridiculous. I mean, they've got buses and cars out onto the road, and to have someone there who can, you know, sort of keep people from doing stupid things is going to be good for everybody.
Thank you, Joe. Director Honchar, while you're speaking, you can give us an update on Pathfinder.
Okay, thank you, Jim. First of all, in our last meeting, we discussed every year we have to do lead testing. So that's a pretty big expense, but Rob, our maintenance man, has it down pat. He'll take care of that. We are up to 200 cameras now in and around the school building. So that's making for better security. The first day of school was August 30th, and we've had a huge expenditure, $114,000 for a flywheel for the air conditioning unit. So we're hoping for little or no Indian summer this fall. And we're up to 87 students. That's the end of my report. Thank you.
All right, thank you, George. Director Zaleski, anything new on Shasta?
Nothing on my end, but I know Dr. Kreider, the superintendent, said they had any other kind of meetings or.
Not for Shasta, no.
Maybe later this fall? Or is there one
It seems
scheduled?
like they're more active in the spring.
Spring? Okay.
So,
All right, well, thank you.
thank you.
Director Simzik is not here tonight. I don't know if anybody else has legislative or PSBA topics they'd like to share, or any foundation topics, other than Dr. Kreider noting the golf outing is October 1st, next Saturday. It's a great time, both to participate and to hang out and soak up the environment.
And the first thing,
Yes.
When is that?
October 4th. I mean, November 4th, November 4th. Yes, November 4th, and the tickets have only been live for 4 days, and we are halfway sold out.
What's November 4th?
So, yeah, it's a fun event. Come and get a table. You can get tables of 6 or 8. And we have Carlington alumni male models to show off all the purses, and it's just a fun night out. You bring food and drinks, and there's music and all kinds of, it's just a fun night. We have people that come from all over, not just connected to the Carlington community. Our biggest table, which is up to 18 people now, they're from Bethel Park. They have no connection at all, and they told us last year if it was a sleepover event, they would sleep over. They're the first people there, they're the last people to leave, they have a great time, and they just keep growing their group every year, so it's a really fun night out.
Where is it held?
It's at St. Simon and Jude Gym on Green Tree Road, right at the top of Forsyth Road,
November 4th.
November 4th, Friday night.
And where can they find out more information if they want it?
The tickets are on our foundation website as well, and that's where you can just buy them right there with PayPal, and that's why, you know, like I said, Lisa sent an email out to everybody who had bought tickets before, and we're halfway sold out.
Awesome. That's carlington.org.
Yes.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments about the committee reports? And you have no other administrative?
That's correct.
Okay. Moving along to section 4, under miscellaneous, we have 4 items to entertain, so I'll entertain a motion to approve number 1, the change order number 3, dated 8/10/22 for the Crafton Elementary miscellaneous upgrade list, as was attached. Item number 2, to approve the additions to the list of conferences for the 22-23 school year. Number 3, the memorandum of understanding between the district and Roslyn Farms for the use of the tennis courts. And number 4, the memorandum of understanding between the district and Pennsbury Village Borough, appointing Pennsbury Village as a temporary shelter site in the event of a natural disaster or other emergency. Do I have a motion for those 4 items under section 4?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you very much. Any questions? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you. Under section 5, finance, we have 2 items. I'll entertain a motion to approve number 1, the bills from August 24th, 2022 through September 9th, 2022 in the amount of $843,093.18. Then number 2, the following reports as reflected in the September 2022 financial report packet: the August 2022 Treasurers Report, Investment Report, Board Summary Report, Athletic Fund Report, and the Junior Senior High School Activities Fund Report, all August of 2022 reports. Do I have a motion for those 2 items under section 5?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you. Any discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Motion carries. Under section 6 personnel, we have several items, a total of 10, 11, 12, 13 items, including some big ones. So I'll entertain a motion to approve number 1, the personnel agenda as submitted, which contains numerous items. Number 2, to approve Ms. Jenna Mazocho.
Mazzacco.
How many times I practiced it, I know. Mazzacco. Ms. Jenna Mazzacco, as the elementary principal at Carnegie Elementary School at the annual salary of $86,000 under the terms of the Act 93 agreement. Number 3, authorize the superintendent to hire staff and accept resignations on behalf of the board, effective immediately until the next voting meeting, provided that the superintendent collaborates with the board president and/or the vice president. The board will retroactively ratify these decisions and actions during the next regularly scheduled meeting in accordance with the Sunshine Act. Number 4, the memorandum of understanding between the district and the Secretariat Cafeteria Aides Collective Bargaining Unit as entered for the 22-23 school year. Number 5, the memorandum of understanding between the district and the SCA Collective Bargaining Unit as entered for the 22-23 school year as submitted. Number 6, the memorandum of understanding between the district and the SCA Collective Bargaining Unit regarding the classification of nurse assistant positions as submitted. Number 7, to increase the daily substitute rate for paraprofessionals and general food workers. And any other?
My request was to add the custodial and maintenance substitutes.
So item number 7 will be a motion to increase the daily substitute rate for paraprofessionals, general food workers, and custodial and maintenance workers to $14 per hour. Number 8, to create a kindergarten teaching position at Carnegie Elementary School consistent with the terms of the CFT, the Carleton Federation of Teachers Collective Bargaining Agreement. Number 9, the memorandum of understanding between the district and the Carleton Federation of Teachers Collective Bargaining Unit as entered for the 22-23 school year. Number 10, the memorandum of understanding between the district and the Carleton Federation of Teachers CBU as entered for the duration of the current CBA. Number 11, to eliminate the K-12 gifted library teacher effective December 2nd, 2022. Item number 12, to create the K-12 gifted teacher grant writer position with a start date to be determined. Number 13, to approve and appoint John Mcadoo to the position of interim principal at Carnegie Elementary effective September 19th, 2022, according to the attached employment agreement. Do I have a motion for those 13 items under section 6?
I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you very much. Any questions? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Yes.
We'll pause there. Within that fleet of motions, there were two on there, Lauren Bachman and Cindy Eddy, who we accepted resignation and retirement for. Mrs. Bachman was the principal at Carnegie Elementary School. We thank her for her years of service. She is moving on to a new venture in a neighboring school district. We wish her very well and thank her for her years of service. Also, Cindy Eddy, our current gate teacher, is also retiring as of December the 2nd. She has been extremely influential with our students and very beneficial to work with students in their individual capacities to provide specific programming for their areas of giftedness. And did a tremendous job in working with those students as individuals and with their families as well. We wish her all the best in her retirement. Also in the motion, Mrs. Mazzocco is with us this evening. I'd like to give her the congratulations and give you the opportunity to say hello to everybody. I know she's here with her husband, her mother, and I'm going to fail the test because I forget the children's names, but three lovely children that you have with you today. Anything you'd like to share with?
I just want to share how thankful I am for each one of your supports this evening and how excited I am to be a new thread in the fabric that is this prideful community. I can't wait to engage the whole community and seeing to the best outcomes for all of your children.
Well, thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
And also with us on the board agenda was Helen Shear. Helen is our new counselor at Crafton Elementary School.
It's hard to follow up. I'm also very excited to get started and can't wait to get to know the crafting community a little better. I did live in Heidelberg for a while, so I'm familiar with Carnegie, so I need to get a little bit more familiar with crafting. I did not bring my family because my 2-year-old is sleeping. But thank you, I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you. That's it. Okay, good. Moving along to section 7 then, we have student activities. I'll entertain a motion to approve the additions to the list of field trips for the 2022-2023 school year as submitted. Motion for that.
Second.
Moved and seconded, thank you. Any discussion or questions? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Old business, any director have any old business they would like to bring up?
And Jim, maybe you're going to talk about this later, but we lost a $3.5 million opportunity that's been on the table for 3 years. Could you explain to our taxpayers how we lost this?
Good point. So I wasn't prepared to speak on it, but I'm glad you brought it up, so thank you. For everybody who can remember a couple of years ago, actually the day I believe you were approved as superintendent, the district had been approached by some businesses in the area that they were interested in the Crafton athletic field as a development opportunity. And the district explored that with them, and we had some tentative plans in place to do something there at that property. And I think either on that date or on a subsequent date, we revealed the offer for that property was $3.5 million. And we were partnering with the Borough of Crafton during that time to formulate the plans, work through any questions, and knock down any areas of concern. And ultimately, after the total process has been maybe 5 or 6 years, but since it was formally approved and announced, it's probably 2.5 years. The potential buyer has decided that they were not willing to wait for the borough and the district to come to an agreement on what that should look like, so they're going to step aside for now. Still expressing interest, and we're still hopeful that the Borough of Crafton has an interest in continued discussions, but for now, to specifically address George's question, the buyer has withdrawn their offer, so that's no longer on the table. So that's as much information as we have.
Yeah, I believe that offer was on the table. They did several extensions for it. I believe we're up to the 6th, almost the 6th extension of the agreement.
Mm-hmm. Right. So we have dialogue with the borough, and we're hoping that the borough finds a path that satisfies their needs and their concerns and helps provide some development opportunities that grow and evolve Crafton, and helps the borough, it helps the district, and helps all of us. So, but that's the update that we have tonight. So, any other old business from any director? New business, any new business from any director? Birthdays and
No,
no. Just check.
I've had too many.
No singing, no party hats. Then I turn to open forum. We have a time for our community to ask questions. We do have a couple of people that have signed up. Is there a Megan Griffin?
That is me. Hi.
Hello.
I'm Megan. I am here to represent the Arlington Little Cougars. I am their secretary. First and foremost, before I do start, I will say us coming here has us concerned.
Okay.
Bringing this to the board that we won't be able to use our field from here on out if we bring this to you guys. Just wanted to start it out with that.
Okay.
We do want to mention first and foremost, we are your guys' feeder program. We're trying really hard to work with our little ones to make football different within this community and with this school district. But we want to know, first of all, why there is no interest or cooperation with us little guys when it comes to, where's that? This one. Like every time we asked for something, we needed helmets last year for some of our bigger kids. We got charged to have a helmet from the high school. We also needed 3 bigger ones this year as well, and we were ignored by the athletic director, said, we'll get back to you, never did. Luckily, we were able to find them in time for our season to start so our kids could play, but it seems like every time we do have concerns or questions, we kind of get shoved to the side. Again, kind of terrified to even be here and say anything, but I need to because I need to say something for our kids. We also, again, I am the secretary. I was able to go through all of your minutes and I found the lease agreement that I have never seen and I've never signed, which our apparent lease agreement is up on October 1st of 2022. And I knew nothing about this. That's why I'm here. Second of all, there's a motion, or it mentions on here about how the school district agrees that they will include the property within its coverage of liability insurance. We are being charged twice for insurance. We have to cover our own insurance, and then we have to have our own other insurance through the organization we're with, which we understand that, but it states right here that the school district agrees that they will include the property within its coverage of liability. We paid a separate policy this season and have been. So again, why are we not having any cooperation here when we are the feeder program?
Absolutely. If I could address, unless you have more points, I have, I think, some good answers for you, good comments for you. I think this entire board, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think this entire board recognizes the value, the critical value of the youth sports programs as feeders, not just feeders because we have a high school program, but feeders for our young children who are developing them and giving them time and attention and giving them a holistic education, not just the academic part. So we're a big believer in the community groups that support our kids from a young age up. If you're having specific issues with communication difficulties or whatever else, that's a separate sort of tactical problem, but we do want to address it. So I don't know if you have a suggestion of how they want to resolve it, but we should, if you want to stay afterward and we can address it offline, but if you're not getting answers or if there's a gap in communication, we can.
Yeah, because we also got invoiced to use our field that we were never addressed or told about. There's nothing in writing on why we were going to get charged to use our field for home games, that they want $1,400 paid by September 28th to the Arlington School District. Payment should be mailed to Nate Milsom. Nothing ever was signed about this. And these totals, which you guys just approved, the memorandum of understanding,
I have all of the totals for the position varsity and junior varsity, rate of pay per event, and the positions junior high and middle level. These totals do not add up to any of our totals. It doesn't make sense. And we were never notified or told that we were gonna have to pay this.
Not to mention we provide.
Megan, is this the first time?
Yes.
there's a charge?
This is the first time with our new board that this was ever given to us. We have records, financial records from, what was the last year?
So I've gone through our checkbook since 2017, which is all I have for records, and I've never seen a payment to the school
To use
for
our
to use
field.
the field.
Okay, so to address the first issue, the lease agreement itself was the lease agreement we approved probably back in maybe June.
Okay,
That is
Lease-
for the athletic field, correct, in
That's-
Crafton?
Right,
We're talking, we got an invoice to use the.
Well, I also
Hans
brought
Wagner
that up
field.
too. I also brought that up too because I was the active secretary and I've never seen this, nor did I sign this.
okay. So I reached out to the contacts that we were provided for the program. We can
Yeah.
follow up. I'll
Okay.
share with you who I sent the information to, the correspondences that we had. The lease agreement, basically, we converted it, previously it was a 10-year agreement. It
Right.
went from 10 years ago to 2012 through 2022.
Okay.
We went to a month-to-month lease recently, still maintained that $1 throughout the term of the lease. But went to a month-to-month just based on what Mr. Shriver shared about the land potentially being purchased. So that in the event the land was purchased, that we would have an easy back out and be able to give you as much advance notice to when the field would be no longer usable. So that's a little bit of, as far as the lease agreement part. But what you're referencing now is charges that are going towards the use of, is it?
We got
Hans
invoiced
Wagner.
for the
Hans Wagner.
Hannes Wagner Stadium for a maintenance fee and a custodian fee, which have two different prices, with a subtotal both equaling $738.61.
Okay.
Megan,
Per
Per
game.
home game.
who signed it?
It says, checks should be made out to Arlington school districts, payments should be mailed to Nate Milsom with this address here at the high school.
Okay, so it's a $1,400 per game, and that's basically for maintenance and custodian.
This is for the first two, so we're assuming that we're gonna be getting another one for our last two as well. The one maintenance fee was for $403.09, which is the maintenance fee, and then the custodian fee of $335.52.
Okay.
And then one more question since I am up. If by chance the field were to get sold, where would be the place for us to go?
That's what we would try
And
to,
how much would they charge us?
That-
And how
that's-
much would we get charged?
that's something as that deal moves forward, that would be something that we would, if we sell it, it's no longer our property.
Right,
We would look towards different spaces to help you out as far as different areas where you could play.
So are the custodian fees, I mean, my child did swimming, and we had to, every swim meet that we had in this building for the Barracudas, we had to pay a custodial fee. We
Right.
had to have custodians here during the day, we didn't have any choice in that, didn't matter if we cleaned up our own trash, and we had to pay a set custodial and maintenance fee for every home swim meet. I mean, is that what this is, and it
Basically.
maybe didn't get done
Correct.
over the years, and it was supposed to have been done because we do charge every organization
and
that
we
uses
do
it.
understand that.
There's only one
Are you
person.
implying this is for back years, old games, and that's why it's so high?
We are a small little organization and I cannot fathom getting this type of, I mean, it's insane.
This would be
To-
$3,000.
and to play at our
These
home
fees
field.
go for sixth grade dance at the elementary
Yeah, I
school
mean, the
though,
fees
too.
are set by the
Anytime it's
contract.
Right, well, I don't
Especially
have a
anytime it's
contract for this at all.
No, I mean, the fees for custodians and maintenance workers are set by their contract that they have with the school district.
Oh,
We don't-
that's
we
fine.
don't
It's just
have
I
the
never-
ability to negotiate that.
We never knew about this, we never
Right.
got one. No,
And
we were
there's
never
only
told
one
about that.
custodian there, if you wanna call him that.
Right.
So we're paying $730 some to one person.
So your point is the fees didn't seem to match.
Well, just in general, yeah, we didn't know that we were gonna get charged first of all. This came out of nowhere.
Because we didn't get charged last year.
We didn't get charged last year or the previous years. Now all of a sudden we're getting charged. Nobody, to my knowledge, notified any of us about it.
Why don't we have, if
I'll
you
I'll
can,
dig into it.
if you can have Nate or whomever investigate, and then give it a week or two, and hopefully we'll have a lot of communication back and forth, and if for every reason there's
Yeah.
still a gap, let us know, and
Okay.
I'm sorry, in the meantime, this bill is due September 28th. Should we pay it?
should we suspend payment until we can confirm that the correct amount has been billed?
Until we figure it
Why
out.
don't you
Okay.
hold on to it
Because
for
we
now?
do have one more game, and it's our senior night.
Right. Yeah.
Is that important?
A little bit, it's a little bit of a big deal.
What's your record this year?
Well, they're doing the best they can do with what they have.
Thank you.
Yes,
They're doing a great job.
Thank
Thank
You
you.
didn't do it as a joke.
Of improving young lives, right?
Yeah.
You're giving kids an outlet, you're teaching them skills.
We don't lose, we
Teamwork.
learn.
Yeah, a lot of
Good,
questions
good,
on that.
that's right.
But all I ask, please just stick around after the meeting so we can exchange contacts.
Sure, thank you.
Thanks.
And thank you for coming.
Thank
And
you.
no worries, there's no
Thank you for having me.
negative repercussions or anything like that, so thank you.
Appreciate it.
Jackie Peterson Jr.
Hello. Back to what you said about the Crafton Athletic Field being, trying to sell it.
Correct.
To my understanding, that property was donated to the district and it can't be sold.
It was, the reason we can answer this is we spent many months researching it, and what happened is in the 1920s, Crafton School District bought parcels of land from different private landowners. I think there were 5 different sales in the 1920s. And so that was multiple different personal properties that was put together as one large one.
Yeah, and it was a substantial amount of money even back then.
It was.
It wasn't like they were given a sweetheart deal. It was.
Yeah, it was, they paid market value a long time ago. In 1999, for whatever reason, the district carved off the front section of that property and sold it with conditions to the borough of Crafton for $1. And so the borough of Crafton owns and controls that front piece. They can use it for borough purposes if they decide they're not able to use it for borough purposes or they don't need it any longer, or if the district decides they need it back, it would come back to us. So the borough can't sell or can't do anything with it other than you can play miniature golf on it today or park cars.
Now, does that include the parking lot or just the golf course?
The parking lot. The borough owns the parking lot and the golf course, and the district roughly owns the large field. And honestly, your question is not surprising because there's been 100 different interpretations of where that came from and how it got assembled. So we've heard crazy stories, but our solicitor and their team went back and researched the deeds, and we have 1920s copies of deeds from these individuals.
We pulled the deeds from the 1920s.
But you're
Sales price are set forth in those deeds at that time.
right. So your question is not surprising. It makes sense. I hope that answers your question.
But,
Okay.
thank you.
Sure. Nicole Ortiz, I believe.
That's me. I'm Nicole Ortiz. I'm the treasurer for the Carlington Little Cougars. And I'm just here to piggyback off of what they're talking about. The invoice was a huge surprise to us. If we pay that full amount, that's $3,000 off the top of our budget that we weren't expecting. And we are a small program. We do a ton of fundraising, but it's never enough. We spent $17,000 this year on cheerleading uniforms. So that $3,000 is really, we're counting on that for our end of year banquet and gifts. And then I guess, not to repeat everything they're saying, as a parent in this school district, I went here, I'm from Crafton, my kids go to this school now. I don't understand the disconnect, not just with the Little Cougars, but with all of the youth programs. And if this is the charge for a nonprofit group within your district to use the school's field, I don't know, maybe as decision makers you could look at that. I understand that the little wrestling group can't have their matches here anymore because they can't afford it. Doesn't that seem crazy that their own kids from their own school district can't afford to use their own facility because they can't raise the money? So just some things to think about, but again, our main issue was this invoice and we weren't sure where it came from, and I just wanted to look into that. So, thank
Just to
you.
confirm, the direction for now is to hold on, do not pay that invoice, and the district and your group can reconcile that over the next couple of days or the next week.
Will do. Thank you, thank you.
Sure. Lindsay there?
Yes. Hi, I'm Lindsay Barr. I'm here today because my daughter has sustained a second concussion in gym class. I have had many conversations with the vice principal, and I'm not getting answers. There's nowhere on the district's website about concussion protocol in gym class. You're athletic? Great. You go back to 2011 documenting everything. But for gym class, now unless my daughter has really amazing luck, the story that I was told from the nurse, the gym teacher, and from students are very two different stories. I have asked to review the video surveillance of the gymnasium to see what actually occurred and how unconscious my daughter was down on the ground for. Because one person said, oh, she just sat down. She was fine. She was able to talk. The other person, she was down for 2 minutes. We took her to Children's Hospital, and they looked at me that I was crazy that she wasn't here on an ambulance, on a backboard, and a neck brace. They said, why did the school not call 911? I said, that's what I would like to know. Audrey, September 2nd, and the gym teacher told me my child is clumsy. She's a competition dancer, a cheerleader, marching band, concert clarinet player. My child is not clumsy. I spoke to the other 2 students who collided with her, and it was an accident. But at the same time, for the gym teacher to look at her and not follow CDC guidelines on what happens with concussion protocol, I need answers. I want to see what actually happened in that video because there's 3 sides to every story.
We've discussed that, and if you talk to Dr. Kreider, he'll make arrangements for you to view the video.
Okay, thank you, because at the same time, I have 2 small boys that are going to be coming up to this high school. What are the chances that they're going to get a concussion in gym class? How many students go to gym, get injured, and not even realize that they have a concussion? Oh, I just fell and hit my head. Okay, parents may not be aware of this, but I am. This is deadly. So thank you. I would like to have answers and more information on concussion protocol in gym class since it's not anywhere addressed.
Thank you for sharing that. Sorry. Next comment or next person wanting to speak is Marlene Chioda.
Hi, I'm Marlene Chioda, and I came last month, and it wasn't clear to me when I asked the question, who has jurisdiction to put the Bible into your online library, and also the 2 booklets on God's wisdom for little children in the Crafton Elementary School library. And I had 2 different viewpoints, and I wondered, and one of the members, it could have been Leanne, I'm not sure, that said that nobody wants that up for a motion. And I'm wondering, well, how does she know? Did you already talk about it? And I'm wondering, did everyone agree here on this school board not to put a Bible in your in your library? I wanted to find that out.
Marlene, I think we have had the privilege of having you come and share your opinion with us several times over the last several years. And in spite of whatever personal religious beliefs that some or all of our board members might have, it has been our interpretation that it's not appropriate for us to pick out one religion and somehow emphasize that. So we have elected to not do that. As much as we respect your personal opinion and as much as we appreciate you coming and sharing your thoughts with us, we have made the decision and we have received advice from our council about that not being an appropriate move to make. So I think, go ahead.
Are you telling me then that it would be hopeless to ever have the Bible in the library? Is that what you're telling me?
Let me formulate my thought here. So under the conditions that you've been asking for, or the specific requests that you've been making, I don't believe there is support on this board to make those actions, because we don't believe it's appropriate. Again, in spite of whatever personal religious beliefs that we might hold, I don't believe this board believes it's appropriate to place those single religion documents and appear to make some sort of suggestion that these are documents that we want to.
And it's our role to be as non-secular as possible.
And then, what about the Constitution? I requested that to be put up on too. Our Constitution.
It's a wonderful document. I think we study it in several classes.
And when I came into the hallway, I came in the wrong way about a month ago. And I noticed that you had a sign, LBGTQ, I think it was.
Sure.
And I'm like, I went to school growing up. I never even heard of that. And I had to look up in the dictionary, transgender, and the word wasn't even in the dictionary. And actually, that's child abuse. When anybody would perform an operation to mutilate a child's body part, tell me the truth.
I'm going to stop you right there.
I think because this has gone further than public comment, Mr. Schreiber.
We're going to discuss with you, and that's not what the sign was about. Nobody said anything about operations or anything like that. So please, would you just move on with your comments?
But you're promoting something that is against.
I'm not going to argue with you about it.
Okay, well, go on.
There's nothing to promote, there's nothing to condemn.
So,
I'm
Marlene,
not arguing with you about it.
I'm not arguing. I'm
You
just
are.
letting you know that.
You're standing there arguing.
I'm giving
You're
you
not.
factual information.
You're not giving us information.
I'm letting you know that a lot of people, I'm not.
A lot of people? How many people?
so Marlene, we traditionally have
I
a.
have been talking to people, and they are concerned that you have a gay club in your school.
It's not
How
allowed.
many people?
How did
And
that
Marlene,
even
we
get-
have a 3-minute limit for people to speak, and
Okay, but how did that get into your school? Did you vote it in?
Well,
Thank you for
I
your
shared with
comments.
you before, if students would be interested in having a Bible club or a religious study club, as a club, it would be authorized and would be approved. It's a student interest that's generated. It goes to the building principal for approval. So any clubs and activities that we have that are student generated go to the building principal and go through an approval process that way.
are there any other public questions or public forum? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I just wanted to say two things. I live in Roslyn Farms, my name is Jamie Harvey. There was a transportation issue a couple weeks into school, and I spoke with Keith. It was taken care of that day, and then it was fixed, and they went on a different bus, and then there was some sort of issue with that, and they fixed it that day, and it was just fabulous. It was great communication. Keith contacted all the families on the bus, so I just wanted to say thank you. It made it a lot easier to get the kids to school and home from school.
Thank you for your patience, and thank you for sharing the good news.
The second thing, with Mrs. Eddy retiring, now that you're adding a new position of the grant writer and gate teacher, will you be changing the job description so that if in the future this new person decides to take a different position, we will not have somebody take a checker, like slide in, that does not have credentials or a certificate? I know there isn't a gifted certificate, but doesn't have the appropriate background to teach the gifted programs.
Dr. Kreger, would you like to address that?
Yeah, so with the position that's open, it's a gate position, and as you had mentioned, the gate certification, there's no specific state requirement. Anybody who holds a K through 12 teaching degree can slide into that position. So there's contractual language, and then there's also public school code language that we'll be obligated to follow to fill that position.
But can you make it a little bit more specific? So a music teacher who doesn't have a background in academics, would you move into it?
No, that we
Really?
right.
Thank you.
Any other open forum questions or comments? If not, board members, any last second open forum questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Moved and seconded, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We are adjourned. Thank you.